So this is Charli Wall, and welcome to Courage, Dear Heart, my wonderful and much loved podcast. And today I am joined by former client Amanda Ashworth. Welcome,
Hi.
Amanda.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, it's such a pleasure. When you sent me that wonderful message the other day, I was just absolutely thrilled. You know, it's always wonderful to get messages like that. You just think, gosh, it was just so lovely. So thank you for taking the time out, because your children are downstairs, to come and talk to us.
That's fine. No, I think obviously having made a move across the world, just realizing exactly how much of our sessions do impact my decision making and my thought process. And obviously every day there's huge changes and how I deal with those changes and overcome them and what my thought process is behind them.
Well, I'm going to halt you there, because before we get into that, which I'm looking forward to, my podcast is called Courage, Dear Heart, and I'd love to ask you, what does courage mean for you?
Courage for me is an internal thing, and I think it's greater than being brave. Courage is having the conviction to follow what you want, your intuition, regardless of what's being said around you.
Yeah, and so because I've known you since boot camp days, right?
About 9-10 years now.
Yeah, and which is such a privilege and an honor anyway. But I have watched you take huge, courageous steps over those years, actually, and it's been wonderful to see. So you were one of the volunteers, I think it was this time last year, who put your hand up for coaching. That I was doing that series of free coaching that also went live in the Freedom Group. And then at that point was when you decided to take a leap and sign up with me, wasn't it?
That was, yeah. I'm just gonna, because I keep getting notifications. I don't want to come through. Right there.
Don't worry.
Yeah, no, I did, and we worked together for 6 months. And during that time, obviously, when we first started working together, I had my business. I was really, really busy, probably too busy. And then I had a lot of kind of personal turmoil with a family member being ill. And then suddenly, probably, 2 or 3 months after working with you, we decided to make the leap and move to the Middle East. So then spent a good chunk of time kind of working that through and how that looked.
Yeah, but prior to that, you had set up a travel mum blog, hadn't you?
Yeah, a family travel blog, That Traveling Family, which is just about to be relaunched, actually.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so tell the people, have you got the link for that so people can find you?
It's just thattravelingfamily.com.
Okay, so I'd watched this from afar, this traveling Amanda and her family. And then you ended up coming to one of my little boot camps that I was doing in Norfolk, because I moved to Norfolk and you were in Norfolk for a bit. So one of the things you said when you wrote your bio very brilliantly was that you had imposter syndrome. So can you talk about what life was like for you prior to signing up for me? I know you had this amazing business.
Yeah, just not believing that I was deserving, and also I think there was a certain amount of disbelief, but then there was a certain amount of when I was being asked to do things. So I got involved in an amazing project, got to sit in on a panel for COP26, again, looking at everyone else and comparing myself and going, I'm not qualified to do this, or, why would they ask me? And just actually, that was almost hindering my experiences, because I tend to overplan and overthink. And so playing out scenarios and stories in your head before they've even happened is the worst thing you can ever do. And I think since working with you, that is the thing that's changed the most, because you can't foresee every situation and things will go wrong. And just also learning that things are just a moment, and that moment will pass. So however crappy it looks at that time, it is just a moment.
And what's the impact that that's had on your life?
Massively. So I'm a big believer now in vibrations and keeping your vibrations high. So just making sure that you're always putting out positive energy. And it's been incredible, the things that have kind of come back to me because of it. But I let go of stuff a lot easier now. So things don't bother me. And even I think it's kind of gone down to like my children, of teaching them coping mechanisms as well. So my 14-year-old over analyzes everything, and just helping him through his thought process as well.
So would you say that you are a calmer mum, a more understanding mum?
I don't feel calmer sometimes. Yeah, but I think, again, one of the things that has massively changed for me is I'm just really grateful all the time. So I kind of, anything that comes along. So here now I have someone that's living with us, a helper, who is just, she is just my angel, and just, you know, she makes my life run smoother. And I think I just come from a place of less judgment now on myself. And so I've learned to be really kind to myself. Whereas before I would just pile on stuff and then become really overwhelmed. And so I haven't worked this summer, and I'm not putting pressure on myself. I know where my limits are, and I know that if my cup is half empty, I can't help others. So since moving, I've had nights out, I've had, you know, my nails done, my hair done, you know, had time away to go to the gym, and just being really unapologetic about it.
Because you've got 3 children, haven't you?
I've got 3 children, yeah. And even that's a massive change. So I've home-edited for the last 6 years. And I made the decision when we came out here to send the 2 youngest to school. And so we're only in day 3 now, and I'm still struggling a little bit in my head about where I sit with school and my whole educational ethos, but just going, let's give the situation time, and let's see how we all adjust. But I've done that completely for me, because they're full on and I need a break, and I want to work on some stuff that I want to work on, and trying to survive on 4 hours sleep is not going to do anybody any good.
So would you say then that through the work that we've done, you would have maintained your pressure of home editing, and then everything else, you wouldn't have given yourself a break? Is that different for you, do you think?
I think I wanted everything, and I think I wanted everything now. And I don't think that comes without a cost to it. So, you know, I was going to burn myself out and then just feel that I was juggling so many plates and just kind of failing at things. But it was just because I was trying to do too much. But I think with the work that I did with you, we looked quite a lot at feminine energy. And I very much go more, there is an imbalance, and I'm very much more in my masculine energy, and I'm very always doing. And so I'm learning to be a lot more, and to be present, and to be still, and just to, like, so the place that we've picked to live, I open the door and I can't hear anything apart from birds. And so when it's slightly cooler, that will be like my favorite coffee spot, and just realizing what makes my mind happy as well. That I was saying to you before we came on, that we made the decision not to move to Dubai because of traffic, because that would just, and knowing my personality as well, so knowing that I love to be busy, and knowing that I suffer from massive FOMO, that like I've made a really amazing group of friends, but they're in Dubai, but I've chosen to be here. And I'm not regretting that decision, because as I say, Monday to Friday, you know, is around work and the children anyway, but just knowing that like after this, I'm going to the beach, and those things are far more important to me and make me far more at peace, I think.
Why do you think then, given, you know, the sort of reflection, that you were keeping yourself busy all the time? Do.
I think I've just always been a person that just takes action and lots of it, and not necessarily knowing what to do with my time sometimes. And I think once you just get on that kind of wheel of being busy all the time, you sometimes stop. And of course, I was one of those people with lockdown who said, I'm never going to make myself so busy again. And the minute lockdown stopped, it was there again. So, and I think it's just, it has probably, as I say, impacted every single area of my life and my decision making. And so I decided before moving that I was going to need to meet people. So I set up a WhatsApp group and went about recruiting a group of ladies who were all moving from the UK at the same time with children. And what I've managed to do is create a community of like 35 amazing women who for the last kind of 3 months have just been there for each other, because we all understand what everyone is going through. And these are women that I would have never normally met in other areas of my life. But it's amazing, like one of the women used to live 8 miles away from me. And, you know, they're now just, you know, it's incredible, because as I say, I think that was probably what was missing in my life, was a good tribe as well.
Yeah.
Of women supporting each other, not coming from a place of judgment, and having a common interest.
I love that. And I think this is a point that a lot of women may resonate with. You got the inspired idea, right, to create your own community or put it out somewhere about people who are also moving to Dubai. Is there a little person?
A big person.
Oh, there's a big.
Yeah.
And you got that inspired hit, right? That sort of command. And you followed it and you took action, and then something unimaginable happened.
It's something incredible. So now the dads have their own group, and they were out on Saturday. And then the teams have their own group, and they were at a theme park again Saturday day. So I've got a brunch coming up in a few weeks where there's 70 of us going for brunch. And from being in Cambridge and being from you know, having lived in Cambridge most of my life and kept my circle very, very small, this is what I should have done years ago, but not trusting my wisdom.
Right. So that's what I mean. Like, how many women listening will have an inspired hit and then go into self-doubt and fear?
Well, I think that's the point. So people would be like, well, you know, but nobody's going to join, and what if nobody likes me, and what if, you know, all of those that prevent you from taking action. And it's, you know, so yesterday I'm not in Dubai, so I'm not at everything. 8 women met for brunch after the school run, and it's so amazing that, just not for me, and I have completely said it was done from a completely selfish point of view, that I knew that I needed to meet people, but it's been a lifeline for lots of other women as well.
I mean, you know, I love creating female communities, so I'm just like, that makes my heart sing hearing that. I mean, I didn't know that. That's the first time you told that story.
But, you know, if not, I think moving here was a fresh start. So it was a case of, I think it's very easy to get wrapped up in family and, you know, kids and lives. But actually, I knew that if I didn't meet people 6 months along the line, I'd be really lonely and not liking this experience, because I need adult company. But by starting that group, when we then moved here from Dubai, I was far more open to meeting people because I'd been doing it already. And it's just that thing of going, what's the worst that can happen is you go for a play date with somebody that's just not, you just don't gel. It's a bit like dating and kissing frogs, and then you just kind of move on. But I've met so many lovely people, and so already here I feel so settled because of the people that I've met.
And I guess if you're not full of self-concern and anxiety and worry and self-doubt, then you can just be free to be who you want to be and trust.
Yeah, so we were out at a ladies' night last week, and I kind of had said to my other half, I said, Dubai is a terrible place if you're insecure about yourself, because there's lots of beautiful women with lots of filler. But we were at this ladies' night, and we were one of two tables that actually looked like they were having fun. Everybody else was just very stone-faced and very serious, and almost just there because it was the place to be rather than just not caring.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most amazing thing about meeting these group of women, is that we're all like-minded. We've all taken a risk, spent obscene amounts of money to move halfway across the world to try and change our lives and our children's lives, not knowing whether or not it's going to work, because there is no certainty. That's and right. I've had lots of people say to me, but well, if it goes wrong, what's it going, and I think that's the thing of nothing is necessarily has to be forever. So my business that was doing very well, I gave it up because, or I've actually given it to my dad because it no longer served me. And I think that's courage, is also learning to move on from things. It's not failing, it's just going, okay, that isn't actually what I want, and just moving on from it.
Yeah, it's okay to change your mind.
Yeah. And then you can change it again.
Yeah, like literally nothing is permanent apart from what's unchangeable. And the only thing that's
well, I think once you believe anything can happen, stuff starts happening that you just. So I changed my handle on Instagram, and this was about 2 weeks before I moved, 2 or 3 weeks before I moved. And the Gulf News here got in touch to do an article on my family and our traveling. And I was just like, it's that thing of, and as I say, I believe so much in energy now and energetically. And this is where I say, coming from a place of where I'm just grateful all the time, rather than frustrated or annoyed or angry. But I also now believe that I'm worth it and that anything is possible. And that's such a kind of big step.
You're worth it and anything is possible.
Yeah. And I think, and as women, we do give so much of ourselves away and not actually sit down to think what is we want in our lives, and literally just to kind of, this is why I think journaling is so important, because I think that actually when you journal, it just all kind of comes out. And I think the most amazing thing is when you journal and then you look back a year after and you just go, all of that has happened. But I think you also, so this is where I was saying about everything has its moment. So we were in Dubai for about 5 days and I caught COVID, and I had to isolate in a hotel room with my 2 children, which was not a fun experience because one got it and then the next one. And so the old me, my head would have started spiraling of, this is a sign, and this is this, and this is, and of me just going, do you know what? I've gotten away with it for like 2.5 years of not catching it. It's 10 days. We can just take every day as it comes. And it felt really long and arduous, but then it was over. Whereas I think in the past, I would have believed that almost the world was against me.
Yeah. Yes.
Cool. this was going to happen. So no, for anybody that, like, I've recommended life coaching to so many people, and I think it's very much about finding a coach that kind of works with you. And I'd had a coach previously, and we'd done lots of practical things, but as I say, your kind of focus on kind of wisdom and the feminine energy is just incredible.
I want to go swimming.
Okay, well, do you want to go and see your brother, and then we'll go?
So well, my question was going to be, what was I like as a coach?
You're very kind of soft, but at the same time kind of probing and kind of getting that information out, but in a really kind of a soft way. So I remember when I first, sat down with you, I wanted, almost like an action plan and it to be really rigid. And as I say, our sessions would just kind of flow. And what we stopped in, was it March or April?
Yeah.
And it's only now that I can reflect and see how much of an impact it's had in every area.
What would you say to someone who was thinking about signing up with me?
So for me, it was probably one of the biggest investments I'd ever done in myself. But I knew if I didn't invest, I was telling myself that I wasn't worth it. But somebody needs to be able to put in the work and listen, and I think really kind of dig deep. But I would definitely recommend it, because as I say, if I'd looked a year ago, I couldn't believe what life would be like now a year ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you get back to your little kiddies there.
She wants to go swimming.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. But no, thank you for having me. And as I say, I think it's me sending that message. It's because you do such an important job and you touch so many women's lives for the better. And okay, right. Right. Yeah, so I think we should end it there. But thank you.
Thank you so much, Amanda. That's really meant a lot to me, and I really appreciate your time, and good luck with the rest of your experience over there. And it's been a real honor to walk by your side, certainly over the last year in this capacity, in this way. So
okay, take care. Bye.